Hey guys, I'm Will from Tested.
And I'm Norm from Tested.
Norman Chan, you have had the rarest of rare devices, the fabled Amazon phone, in your possession for 2 weeks now? 3 weeks?
It's about a month.
It's been that long?
It will be a month in 3 days. And the reason I know that is because I've already called for the return shipping label.
You've got an RMA ready to go.
RMA ready to go. If I can't, we had to do this video today because 3 days
we
later,
have to pay for
otherwise,
it.
Got to pay for it, and I don't want to do that.
So just to be clear, to date, I think we've returned goose egg, 0 items that we've purchased for review. This is the first one.
This is the first one. Totally not worth.
Why do you love it so, Norm?
The $700.
$700.
So here's the lowdown. This is Amazon or 650 plus tax and shipping.
But you could also get it on contract if you're available for an upgrade, right?
Amazon, who is making a ton of money from its e-commerce business, its vast majority of its money comes from its e-commerce business, and its profits go into some experimental projects, which now are big businesses, like servers,
Kindle,
and hardware like the Kindle Fire. And then earlier this year, just 2 months ago, Jeff Bezos cited that he announced the Kindle, the Fire phone. It's not
this
the Kindle.
Is something that's probably been in the works for a long time.
Yes.
We've heard rumors about it for the better part of 2 years now. It's a nice looking phone.
Yeah, and you could, it's not unexpected that they would do a phone, since the Kindle Fire, when it was originally launched, it was the first low-priced 7-inch tablet. It was a lot like the BlackBerry tablet, and
it was the exact same hardware as the BlackBerry tablet.
And then the Kindle Fire HDX, which has sold relatively well, as tablets have,
and was a pretty good tablet,
and pretty good tablet, and pretty good price. And so we've taken all that software and everything they've done with that fork of Android and put it in this phone. So let's talk about the basic hardware first, and then I just want to demo some of its gimmicky features.
But to go back a step, this is just like the Fire tablets. It's a fork of Android. It doesn't include Google Play Store.
No.
It doesn't include Gmail apps. It doesn't include the stock Google apps. Can you get those for this?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
Well, you can sideload. Yes.
Okay.
You can definitely sideload.
And do they do anything funny where they like wipe stuff that you've sideloaded every once in a while? It'll stay there and
disable.
Okay.
So let's go over this as a phone and the hardware. This is a 4.7-inch phone. It's a 720p screen. I'm going to quickly launch it into this carousel. And it's just saying this is the same software, the fork of Android, that we saw on the Kindle Fire and the Fire HDX. That's been refined. So what you have here is the primary interface is called a carousel. It's not a icon-based home screen. It is a carousel of your most recently used apps and items.
Is this so? It is a carousel of everything you use in the phone. Does it include like web pages and stuff like that?
So
books, movies?
For things that Amazon is smart about, for example, books and songs or albums, they will split out. So this is a book from the Kindle app. So it won't display just the Kindle app. It'll display the book, and then it'll display, for example, an album next to another album.
Just having that book on the Kindle Fire phone, made it like 20% better. It's a really good book.
Yes. This book is a really good book, but it doesn't come with.
Come with the Kindle.
For web browser, though, it doesn't display individual web pages. It is still their Silk browser.
Okay.
And then there's things, and I'll go over some of the different features. So it's the carousel here. The interface is one home button. So there's one home button on the bottom.
Is it a physical button, or
it's a physical button right there? So I'll show you that in the glare. On the side here, there's volume buttons. This is for your SIM card.
Is it a micro SIM or a nano SIM?
It's a micro SIM. And this is your dedicated camera button. We'll talk about the unique feature for that in just a second. Nothing on this side.
Okay.
And then the top has a home button and your audio port.
It's an on-off button, right?
On-off sleep button. And then your micro USB on the bottom, in addition to your speakers.
Is headphone on the top or on the bottom?
Headphones on the top,
okay.
Right there. So I turn it on again. You can swipe up. So one of the things that's different from Android is that there's no back button, even digitally. So there's a home button here. You click it. I'm here. I'm home already. If you're in the home screen, it'll launch your app list. And so unlike in Android, where there's a button just for your app list, you swipe up from the bottom. So if you swipe up from the bottom while you're on your home screen, here's the list of all your apps.
With performance looks, I mean, it looks like it performs pretty well.
Yeah, so inside there's a Snapdragon 800 processor by Qualcomm. This is not the Snapdragon 801, which is what you'll find in a lot of new phones like the HTC One M8 or the OnePlus One. This is a slower clock Snapdragon 800 from about 8 months ago. So if you swipe to the left, you have what's basically...
Wow, that is a terrible font.
Well, it's also 3D, and I'll explain that in a second. But this is the basic functions, and so this is for the home screen. It'll show you your basic apps, games, web, things that tap into Amazon's shopping stores. And then on your right, it's what Amazon calls the delight menu. On the right here, you have your calendar and your weather. But if you're in a different app, for example, and I'll launch something really quickly. I'll launch, for example, music.
I love music, Norm.
If you're in music and you swipe to the left here, it then becomes a list of the best-selling albums.
Or its recommendations.
Or recommendations. And if you're in a song, now, and here the common functions, if you swipe from the left, and I'm holding inside a weird angle. Nope.
No swiping from the left?
Nope.
This was always one of my complaints. They got better with the tablets over time, but the UI doesn't necessarily behave the way you would expect it to in many cases.
There's a learning curve. If you're in a song, and I click, for example, this song, and I think I have the volume down. Your volume button then, nope, I pressed, it's the wrong button, hold on.
You pressed the camera button.
I pressed the camera button, and that's something that happens very frequently. So I'm playing a song, and there it goes. It's actually streaming from the cloud because it's bought from the Amazon store, so you can play it, download it, stream it.
Does this not do the instant streaming stuff that they touted in the tablet?
It does do the Prime streaming.
But it doesn't do the pre-caching of the first couple of seconds of video whenever you come to... Okay.
No. So you have the ringer volume. It's still loading the song for some reason. But you can also swipe then, and if they have it, they will put lyrics. And there are no lyrics for this song. I tried a bunch of songs I liked and no lyrics for those songs.
Well,
it's still loading.
I mean, in fairness,
even some popular
like
songs.
Like Arcade Fire in December, stuff that's had...
Eye of the Tiger. No lyrics.
No lyrics?
No lyrics for Eye of the Tiger.
There are only like 5 lines in Eye of the Tiger.
So if you swipe to the left here, you actually see your common functions. For example, your playlist and your songs like that.
This is all the stuff you expect to see from iTunes or whatever.
So no back button. The back button actually is a swipe from the bottom. So that's your back button. You swipe from the bottom.
Okay. Or you can go all the way home.
Or you can just click the home button and you're home.
Do you find that you don't use the back? You just go home and then come back. Like if you went home and then jump back into that app, are you going to be buried in that down 3 levels?
You will be where you are. Yes, you will. Okay. Yeah, it'll be the song playing.
See that kind of UI and like the problem isn't that the UI is bad or that you don't understand how to use it without kind of following the instructions. It's that it behaves one way in one app and one way in another app.
And the great example of that is I was just in music, and I'm going to launch a separate app, which is Prime Music. Now, Amazon has Prime Video, which if you have a Prime subscription, this phone comes with a full year of Prime for instant streaming. But Amazon also a couple months ago launched Prime Music, which is like their Pandora service, and there's some limited selection of songs. Now
is it songs that you choose, like RDO or Spotify, or is it
it's a limited selection? They have deals with. Amazon has deals.
But you can pick and choose songs.
It's not
a radio-like service.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Now for Prime Music, you would think that this would be built in to just if you swipe from the left. Now this is because I'm holding at the weird angle that I can't get this gesture thing going on. There it goes. That you would think that it'd be just here, the music, the instant streaming. Because if you click video, it's
instant video.
It's Prime Instant Video right there, instant video.
So and this is both stuff you subscribe to and that you can purchase.
That you bought, yes.
Or rent.
So if you think that music, I'm going to show you Rocky 3 in a second, but if you think music, you would think Prime Music is here.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out where the Prime Music was. And it turns out because this phone was developed independently of Prime Music is a separate app.
It's a separate app. I'm sure that's something that'll change. I actually don't mind the separation because one of the things that frustrates me using Prime Instant Video is that it's sometimes difficult to tell. Like you can navigate to a place where you don't just see the list of movies that are free. You also see the movies that you have to pay to rent or purchase.
Right.
Which is, I think, bad use. It doesn't align with what I expect from using Netflix for years.
So Prime Music Eye of the Tiger. There's a Prime little icon right there. It's free.
Okay, that sounds
but
good.
you have no lyrics. You have no features.
Because it's not part of the
Because it's
main
not
app.
part of that main app. Yep.
So when you pull that out, that's Prime Music?
And
That's a Prime Music context menu?
Yep. So it's a completely different interface. There's just no consistency.
2 collections of music. That's kind of lame.
That is. Inside, 2 gigabytes of RAM. Like I said, a Snapdragon 800 processor. It's not the latest and greatest. So I'm a little disappointed by that. The 4.7-inch screen is actually a 720p screen. Now, initially, I was worried that it wasn't a 1080p screen since I'm really used to the 5-inch and a 5.5-inch 1080p screens. Not that big of a problem. 720, I think, is totally fine.
How much is it glass on front and back?
Yep, Gorilla Glass on the front and glass on the back as well. There's smudges, so it's glass.
Is the side
really
plastic
boring
or
design.
metal?
The side is plastic, so it has like a soft plastic side. It's very similar in design to the Kindle Fire HDX, which I think is kind of a bland design.
Well, but the Kindle Fire HDX has that kind of knobbly, grippy plastic back.
Yeah. And this is a glass back. It looks like a prototype phone, unmarked.
Something somebody swiped
Amazon
out of a Chinese factory.
Yep.
Okay.
Cameras in the front, 13 megapixel camera in the back with optical image stabilization. I think it's a totally serviceable camera. Nothing special about that. It's 32 gigs of internal storage. 32 gigs is the minimum, which is nice.
Well, that is good.
And if you want to pay the extra $100 more, there was a 64 gig version. And then
does it have a micro SD card or anything like that?
No micro SD card, no expandable
It looks
storage.
like you can't open it, if I had to guess.
You cannot open it. Not very serviceable at all. The battery is a pretty good battery. It's a little bigger than what you'll find in the Nexus 7, 2400 milliamps.
Nexus 5, you mean?
Sorry, the Nexus 5. And the battery life, I thought, was better than the Nexus 5.
So all day plus?
All day plus. Okay. So a day and a half.
The lower resolution screen, that makes sense.
Well, the lower resolution screen, and that's a good segue, ties into the fact that it uses GPU acceleration all the time.
Oh.
And that's one of the reasons there's a low resolution screen. So this phone, based on everything we've said up to now,
sounds okay.
Sounds very mediocre.
I mean,
it's last year's hardware on the inside, a 720p screen, okay battery life, a good camera, good storage, very limited app selection on default.
Is it very limited or is it just limited?
It's pretty limited. There's no Chrome app.
Well, but it's not going to have the Google stuff because Google and Amazon don't like their approach.
Exactly.
Google doesn't like Amazon's approach. Amazon doesn't want to pay to license. That's fine.
Yeah.
But does it have? Can you get your Flappy Birds and
you can get your Netflix, your HBO Goes,
all that stuff,
and you can get there's a free app every day.
Okay.
And there's plenty of apps, but if you're invested in the Android ecosystem, you're going to be disappointed.
Well, and also apps that you've purchased on on Google Play Store. You have to sideload Google Play, and can you even do that with this phone?
You can go into the settings, and I'll show you the settings, which are a little confusing.
Did you try it, or are you just assuming?
I've read that you can do it.
Okay.
So in the settings, you can go applications, and again, the swipe
screen
up
is super blown out. Just FYI.
There, and you can go. There it goes. Prevent. You can allow installations from sources other than the Amazon App Store. Right there.
So then once you do that, you'll be able to you'll be able to put the Play Store on. You can download apps from the Play Store that you bought on the Play Store, I presume.
Or those APKs directly.
Okay.
So unless you're really invested in the Amazon ecosystem, I don't know anyone who's solely invested in the Amazon app ecosystem. Like if their first tablet was a Kindle Fire, and they've only lived in that without any iOS or any Android apps. I don't see this being a first choice device for them. Now, Amazon did come out and say we have several amazing features on this phone, so I want to demo those for you here.
I love amazing features.
It's basically the reason we bought this is because we wanted to see whether these features, from a technology standpoint, were interesting.
Whether they work, frankly. This is what they were planning. They were saying they were doing is a little crazy.
So I have the phone off right now, and you can see that there are some IR cameras, infrared cameras, in the front, in these corner spots. So what that does is enable this feature called dynamic perspective. I'm going to turn the phone on. Are they infrared or are they just small cameras? They're infrared cameras right there.
So they work in the dark?
Yes.
Is there a light that's attached to them?
No.
So they only see in the infrared?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
there's a normal front-facing camera.
There's a normal front-facing
video
camera.
conferencing
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
Yes. This is the lock screen, and it's a 3D rendered lock screen right now. If you look really up close, which our camera can't, you can actually see the jaggies. It's being rendered in real time.
Can you show us what it looks like off-axis?
So yeah, I'll do that. So there, it taps into two things. It taps into the gyroscope, which every modern phone has. There's a gyroscope. So if I just tilt, my head is moving perfectly, not moving at all, it's staying perfectly still. I can tilt this phone and you can see that the rendering changes a little bit.
So just to be clear, this isn't a 3D display. It's not like the Nintendo 3DS display or the display on that old HD Incredible 3D. It is a 2D single layer display that they're using rendering tricks to perspective skew 3D scenes so they look like they're 3D even though they're not.
It's not stereoscopic. There is no. It's creating what's called a parallax effect. Now, if you have an iPad or an iPhone running the latest iOS 7, you can see that in the background of the wallpaper, where if you tilt your screen a little bit, the background will shift.
It's easiest to see on the lock screen.
Yes. This is doing that for basically the entire user interface, starting with the lock screen. So my head's not moving. I can tilt the gyro, and from my basic distance, from my head to this phone, which is about 1.5 feet right now, the illusion is there that there is some depth to this screen. I can see, if I tilt here, I can see there's more of the chair. Or if I tilt here, I can see that the Oreo flew through the glass right there. Kind of.
Does this add anything to your experience?
Adds nothing to the lock screen experience.
Okay.
Now, the reason there are cameras in front, though, is that it wants to track also my head. Now, there's no calibration required. You don't have to run through anything like Touch ID.
It doesn't tell you to like look at the
iPhone,
top left corner, look at the lower right corner, any of that stuff.
But what Jeff Bezos demoed at the announcement for this phone is that it tracks your eyes and your mouth, and it has head recognition. So it will point and it will generate a 3D model of your head for the computation, so it kind of knows where your head is at.
So you're
not
saying
where your
Amazon,
eyes are looking.
Amazon knows what your head looks like now.
What knows the basic shape of your head, or if your head is on that side or that side. And so if I move my head a little bit left to right, the animation will also move. Now, my hand is actually moving just a little bit. The best way to demo this is actually to lay it on the table. Now, I'm just moving my head right now. There it goes. There's like a little bit of a squid stand right there. Now I'm going to look over here.
It looks like the frame rate's dropped considerably when you're not moving the phone.
And there's a latency. Do you see that latency? Where
it's
I'm
like
going to move my head
stutter.
in frame right here. See that? You can totally see as I move my head up.
It's not even latency. There's also frame, like it's hitchy frame rate.
Yeah. The animation is just not smooth.
Yeah.
Right there. That ruins this illusion completely. In addition to the fact that my head is only 1.5 feet from here, where the illusion matters
your head's
much less.
More than 1.5 feet.
It's about
2 feet probably, yeah.
Yes. If I put the phone much further away from me, the illusion is then better. And you can't see that because the camera.
So you're saying you just need to have the. Okay.
My point is that in developing this gimmick and this technology, they didn't take into consideration that the parallax effect, using it, accentuating to this point, is really ineffective at a normal viewing distance from a person and their phone.
I mean, they had to think that that was a good idea, though, or else they wouldn't have spent a ton of money putting 4 extra cameras on the phone and spending presumably a couple of 3 years developing the software.
My feeling is that they thought it was a wow enough feature that it would warrant building an entire phone around it. But in practice, it just doesn't work.
This kind of reminds me of the early days of Tested, when we were seeing Android phones come out on a weekly or monthly basis that were gimmick driven.
Right.
We kind of haven't seen that in the last couple of years. I don't think this is a good thing. This isn't. You don't.
This is a phone for 2010, when there were kickstands, when there were stereoscopic cameras, 3D cameras, when phones would fold in half or slide out.
Is there anything good about the
dynamic perspective?
Stuff? Yeah.
So in the menu, I've now moved that. And I will also note that this is warm now. It's considerably warmer. I'm going to put your finger on there.
Oh,
just
wow.
on the lock screen.
That's a solid 102, 103.
Yeah. Yes. This is a
Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
This already, because it's rendering 3D all the time.
Yeah.
In the home screen, now this is the thing that you can turn off. You can turn off the dynamic perspective.
Across the whole phone?
Across the whole phone.
Does it improve the battery life?
It does.
Okay.
what you can do, what they want you to be able to do, is tilt the phone to activate information. So your time.
Hey, so the top menu just popped in when you were tilting.
Right. So right there. And for example, if I swipe in from the left, which I'm only having a problem doing because of the way I'm holding this phone right now.
Like this is not representative
like
of your experience.
Like,
okay.
The information that the annotated information pops in.
Okay, so what I thought was a bad font is actually just bad parallax.
Yes. So you can see that this font is actually also being rendered in 3D.
What's the information that pops in to the side?
It tells you a new paid app for free every day in apps or videos. It's an ad. Watch 200,000 movies and TV episodes in video. Shop millions of items delivered directly to your door. Basically, it's descriptive, but selling you on
Norm,
Amazon's
do you
features.
not know what apps are?
I'm well aware of what apps are.
Oh.
So another implementation of dynamic perspective that Amazon really wanted to show was maps.
Now this sounds like it could actually be useful.
It could be useful. What I found both in phone maps and in-car navigation is I hate 3D maps.
I always go for the 2D ones.
You go for the 2D flat because that's how your brain thinks about topography and geography.
I like 3D lane navigation. I like it when they say you need to be 2 lanes from the right and they show the little picture of the exit and how the cloverleaf looks.
Maybe.
That's occasionally useful.
So here's maps for the Amazon Fire Phone.
Whoa.
And this is San Francisco, and you can see the buildings are rendered much like in Google Maps. And the parallax is pretty accentuated there.
Is this coming from Bing?
Bing is the default search engine, but I'm not sure where the data is actually coming from. So
don't impale yourself on the Transamerica pyramid, Norm.
Oh my God, no. If I put this on the table, as you can see there, I gotta
get on top of it.
Let's see. I'm gonna. Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
It's tracked my face. There.
Can you? Yeah.
And
this doesn't look.
The
real
latency breaks the illusion completely.
Yeah. From here, it looks like it's just frame rate. I can't tell the latency because I can't watch you and the screen at the same time.
The one thing I will say is that the gyroscope does 90% of the work.
Oh, really?
You really don't need these cameras to tilt the screen and see. Eye tracking,
man. They're looking for heat maps on your eyeballs. They want to see. Amazon wants to know what you look at when you're buying stuff on the internet.
And when people use their phones, you're not moving your head.
I try not to move anything that I don't have to.
The gyro, for example, in a web page, the gyro will do something that for an app like Instapaper has done, which is the scrolling.
The smooth auto scroll?
Smooth auto scroll. I'm going to load a web page. I read this entire long Wired story on this phone, the Edward Snowden story, which is a really good feature. And it was a good test of the Silk browser, which theoretically caches.
It's not doing so great right now, Norm.
Nope, not doing so great right now.
Are you hooked up to Wi-Fi?
I am hooked to Wi-Fi. It's just taking that long. 5 bars of Wi-Fi. Let's wait. Let's continue waiting. When this eventually loads, I'll be able to show you the tilt scrolling. So the idea, and you can see that the arrow pop up right here. Now, Marco Arment, the developer of Instapaper, implemented this in Instapaper, one of our favorite apps, reading apps, a while ago. And he wrote about how tilt scrolling should best be implemented. There should be a good dead zone. Tilt scrolling, when you enable it by default, it just turns on when you're on a web page. It's there. It's not a tap to activate.
So, and does it center based on where you're holding your phone when the page opens?
When you launch
So you have to hold your phone perfectly still, basically.
Well, there's a good dead zone.
Okay.
Which is why it works. And I actually read, using the tilt scrolling, I think it was effective. So this is the angle I was holding the phone in and still actually loading that web page.
I think you should go to a different web page, Norm.
Yep.
Does it use the cameras for this? Do you know?
No, this is all pure gyro.
This is all gyro.
This is all gyro.
Great.
And don't tell me the app has crashed. Well, Silk browser. There it goes.
You're still doing the thing where they render part of the page on the cloud and then just send on EC2 and send it down, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm load tested, and this should load a little better. There it goes. Nope, back.
Hey, tested.com is Silk browser optimized. Wait, no, we're not.
Loading. But the idea is that as you tilt down, you can actually, and the arrow, the little animation arrow, and there'll be an up animation arrow.
So, I mean, just to be clear, we're talking about not going like this,
Yes.
right?
Yes. For people on the bus.
Oh man, my poor thumb.
Well,
I'm so worn out.
It's a feature that I think people liked on an app like Instapaper.
On a bus, that's going to make you crazy. Because you hit a bump and your page skips.
But that's what dead zone works.
Okay.
There's a good dead zone.
Did you try it on a bus?
I didn't try it on a bus.
You don't ride the bus?
No, I don't ride the bus. Yeah. But that's one of their selling points. Again, something that doesn't require the cameras. It's just purely the gyro.
I'm kind of unimpressed so far.
I was also unimpressed.
Show me one thing that will impress me about this phone.
All right, so here's a feature that I talked about that camera earlier. It's called Firefly.
Okay.
And it's a dedicated button here. If I just tap the button, it turns into the camera. So this is a normal camera.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take a picture of Will right there. Fine. There goes your shutter lag right there. If you hold the button a little longer, now you're in Firefly mode. And what Firefly mode is a way to recognize objects and products. For example.
Oh man, I thought you were going to say that they were bringing back Firefly.
Those are little fireflies running around the object. And can it recognize this Star Wars R2-D2 measuring unit? It thinks it is a Star Wars Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter vehicle.
Nope.
Nope, because too much common branding here with the Star Wars. Now I did the test of this on a bunch of things, and there goes the DeLorean.
Here, I've got something that's completely unrigged. That's easy.
This is easy.
I can do that.
Something with
It's Mortal Kombat 5. It was released in 2011. Warner Brothers Interactive. It's for Xbox 360. Look.
Perfect. You have the reviews. You can buy it right now for $27.95.
How about this one?
Okay. Completely untested. Now swipe from the bottom.
I got that at a hardware store.
Say, oh, that was pretty fast. There it goes. Velcro industrial strength.
Does it get the size right?
2159. And I can tap it.
4 feet by 2 inches.
Let's see. Tapping it. Shop on Amazon.
Man, it makes this really easy to buy stuff.
It is.
I don't think it's the right one.
2 inches by 15 inches.
Nope.
Nope, wrong one. Now, if you give me that box again, though, again I swipe up, and I look at just the UPC code. The other thing it can do is just recognize the UPC code.
If you want to learn more about UPC codes, you should listen to Roman Mars' 99% Invisible. Great episode on that.
And then there has the right one. Well, nope, it's 2 inches.
So somebody's messed up.
Yep, someone's typed it in wrong. Now, even crinkly objects like this.
That's a real shiny bag, Norm.
It's a real shiny bag, and that will actually recognize. There it goes. Here's the Lego 40108. Is that the number? 40108?
Nice job, Firefly.
$24.90 markup prices for Lego.
What about stuff that's not in packaging? Like an Aperture Science mug. That's not sold on Amazon.
That's not sold on Amazon, so that's not going to recognize it. It will try. I can see it kind of recognizing the hard edges, the contrast.
I like how the fireflies fly around the thing.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. One thing that, for example, here's a laptop bag or
a sleeve.
A sleeve for a notebook, and I'm going to actually lift this up above, and it should recognize. Maybe the lighting's off. Yeah. Nope, not recognizing. Earlier, this recognized for me, but
you mean to hold it up?
Very inconsistent. Okay.
This is.
Oh, there it goes. Recognize that it was an object, the sleeve, but the wrong color.
It seems like it only recognizes stuff that's sold at Amazon.
Yeah.
Can it do? It does like CD labels. Can you do business cards?
Business
You're gonna
cards.
put somebody's business card on the
fine.
screen?
This guy no longer works at this company.
Okay.
So the information is no longer relevant. But if you, for example, do the business card, and it will say, think that, oh, is this a business card?
I could do this with Genius Scan in about a third of the time.
And guess what? Because of the type, it has the wrong email. It can't. The parsing of text.
The font jacks it up.
I
mean, just to be clear, you literally could do Genius Scan in a fraction of that time.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm a little bit wowed, I guess.
No, I'm completely unwowed.
I'm just. Also, you get that in the Amazon app for your phone.
Yeah.
I don't think it does the little fireflies flying around.
I don't know why they didn't just do this on
everything.
It released as an app for everyone, and why they need to sell a piece of hardware. And again, Will, feel the bottom of the phone.
105, 104.
It's pretty warm. pretty warm. Now, the last big selling feature for this phone is Mayday, which is a feature they launched with the Kindle Fire HDX that lets people, Kindle Fire HD, that they that lets you get technical support.
I have the Fireflies on my iPhone too, just for what it's worth.
And it recognizes this exact same thing.
You can hold it up over there if you want.
Looking. Item found. Has the same item. Well, there you go. No need to actually buy this product. Well, Mayday is something that's exclusive to the Fire devices, Fire family devices. And what Mayday is live tech support. You want to do a Mayday call?
No, it was horrible last time. I felt really bad.
Well, I did do a couple Mayday calls, and I know it's now tied to my account. But it pops up a little window in the bottom corner of your screen. The person cannot see you, but you can see them. It's typically a call center in the United States. They can activate your phone for you, launch some apps.
Like get AT&T hooked up or what? Is this an AT&T only phone right now, or AT&T T-Mobile?
This is AT&T only phone. We're back to 2007.
So when you call Mayday, can they actually take control of the phone too?
They can take control of certain things. They can launch the App Store. They can go into settings, and they can highlight and annotate things. So, for example, I asked if you could do this mirroring on this, and then they pulled in, you got to do mirror casting your device, and it was a pleasant conversation and relatively quick response. It took about 15 seconds for it to activate.
Okay.
But that's the Amazon Fire phone. It's really unremarkable. For all its gimmicks and tricks, I think it's the most remarkable thing about it is this dynamic perspective thing, which doesn't work.
But you can do. It has all the other stuff that comes with Fire tablets, like X-ray and all that stuff.
Has X-ray. So if you watch a movie, the thing I wanted to show was Rocky, for example. That was Amazon Prime Video. You can launch X-ray. That's the delights menu. So you see all the actors. You can jump to specific scenes. Even TV shows like there's The Wire on HBO now, or on Amazon Prime has deal with HBO. They'll have the scenes and all the actors. Amazon owns IMDb.
Right.
So that stuff is all built in.
Can you pipe that stuff up to like a Fire TV or Miracast device and then use this as the X-ray thing too? Because you can do that on the tablet.
Yes. So then this becomes the cast list.
It's just like who's in the scene right now.
Yes. If you
I can tell by looking at the screen.
As your second screen device.
Yes.
But AT&T only. On contract, it's your $100, $200. Off contract, $650 for 32 gigs. With tax and shipping, that came up to a little over $705.
This seems like a phone that they should be paying a heavy subsidy for people to buy.
Heavy subsidy.
Like you should be not subsidized by the carrier, but Amazon should be subsidizing you, because it seems like the centerpiece of this is buying stuff from Amazon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
And keeping your pocket warm.
Yeah. Keeping your very, very warm.
I mean, in fairness, we have been using this for a lot longer in one sitting than you would probably use it most times. So, I mean, I don't usually use my phone for 20 or 30 minutes straight.
Right.
I use it for 5 or 6 minutes and then put it back in my pocket. But it seems pretty underwhelming. Is there anybody you would recommend buy this phone?
Unless you're heavily, singularly invested in Amazon apps.
And realistically, you're better off just cutting the cord now and moving to something else, right?
Yeah. So here we go. X-ray, quick demo. Here are all the actors in Rocky 3.
Is Burgess Meredith in there? No, he's gone by then, right?
No, right there.
Oh, Burgess Meredith. Okay,
at least in a flashback. No, he dies in this one, I believe.
Spoilers! I've not seen any Rocky movies.
And there you go.
Well,
swipe up to go back.
That's the Fire phone. Amazon has a history of releasing crap first-gen products and then improving them over time. So who knows? Maybe the second-gen Fire phone will be something everyone wants.
I cannot get this into its box and into UPS to get my.
Do you have it here? Is it ready to go?
Fast enough. I'm going to use a shipping service to pick it up.
Very good.
Yeah.
We will see you guys next time.